for when there was a pause in play or something. Just the passage of football was being particularly boring in France. It seems to be adapted to just get the crowd going, as it were. They shouldn't really need any encouragement on this occasion. We've got an excellent ball game on, and once again the English just giving away possession to Elangi.
Release, and then you can another one in the side.
His brother there before he can take a quick one.
But look how sort of energised and alive the Samoans are. Brian Lima in there, Paul Saki, so clear. Just the delay that England's, the ruckers come in to try to clear away the ball. But Saki had no option. He either let go of the ball and give it to Samoa or hold on to it, concede the penalty.
Loki Crichton, who has kicked very, very well so far in this game, takes play up to just shy of the English 22. Well, in much the same way as just watching that South Africa-Tonga match, we were thinking, well, there's no way it's going to get to this stage and the Tongans are still going to be living with the South Africans. Even though English rugby was a crisis point after that loss to South Africa, no one really thought that it was going to reach a stage where the Samoans were going to be putting this much pressure on them, even after their performance against England 4 years ago. Still, the Samoans possibly making the wrong option there, I think. I know they kicked for position, but they're just not winning much line-out ball. Hard to see what other option they could come up with. They've lost possession. Johnny Wilkinson. And it was a more intelligent kick, but it still was easily dealt with, and Samoans put it deep, and this time Lucy must find touch, and he almost overcompensates.
But after that little passage of play, who would you rather be? I mean, I think you'd rather be Samoa with the line out in England's half. But, I don't think Johnny Wilkinson's kicking from hand has been anything like as good and as polished as it normally is. He normally dictates games, he controls games, he turns the pressure on when it's appropriate, and he's just not looked the sort of player he normally is.
He hasn't looked the talisman that he usually is, although his place kicking has been very good. England are really enjoying themselves on the Samoan line out there. Samoans need to start, well, they're even there, they were changing things up. They were just a four-man line out. Mark Cueto goes chasing after that one. Good pressure put on there, because it's, I think, come off the Samoan hand, and it's Lemmy who concedes the line out. So England suddenly find themselves, they have alleviated the pressure, but still need to make it count, this pressure.
Well, there was a better kick and there was more pressure on it, so Cueto was up there challenging for the ball. When the kick's along, there's no way that any of the runners can get there to challenge the catcher.
Ball out into the backs on this occasion, and Johnny Barclay with a very rare opportunity to run. Johnny Wilkinson again uses, and that's forward from Josh Lucy coming into the line. It was Tate, but whoever it was, he got absolutely munched in the tackle.
Well, again, it was the timing of the tackle which was absolutely perfect. No question about that.
A little bit of afters from Satiti, but that shows how strong Johnny Wilkinson can be. I mean, that's one of the main reasons he's probably survived and come back to play for England after that long layoff from injury. He has taken a phenomenal amount of hits throughout his career and always seems to bounce back. And Satiti's not a small lad. It's bouncing off him. Still, Samoan still struggling in the set plays, and Josh Lucy picks it up, and England with a really great opportunity here, and Barclay has definitely employed the wrong tactic by kicking through there, and whatever the confidence of the English players with ball in hand, they had an overlap there. And again, I mean, I would say that Johnny Wilkinson, when they scored the second try, even then they were fortunate that came off. The chip through has just been overused in this World Cup, in my opinion. There's not enough of the players keeping the ball in hand.
Well, I think Brian Ashton has to think about what impact changes can he make, and I think one of them he could make is actually to move Ollie Barclay to 10, because he had a super game against, he was the one shining light in the game against the USA, and really looked on top form, and made breaks, really checked the opposition defence, and obviously it didn't mean bringing Farrell on.
Now England penalty anyway, which is why Johnny Wilkinson felt so confident about going for the drop goal, which he went for with the right boot. But he has the opportunity to reinstate a 7-point advantage to England.
With the drop goal, you've no problem.
And this will be a welcome break for the English players, because at the same time, though, Brian Ashton will probably have in the back of his mind that the Samoan try came from open play. Now, not to say that it won't happen again, but that the Samoans haven't been able to really capitalise on the penalties they've been winning and kicking for position. They haven't been able to exert any real pressure on England. It's all come from deep.
Yeah, it's because they're not able to win their own ball at the line-out, and it's such an important aspect of modern play now. And I think England have targeted that. They've got big men, Simon Shaw and Ben Kay in the second row, and they've done very well on the opposition's ball. But
well, Tolson, just a quick word from you. The Samoans bursting right back into this one with that try. Now the chance for Johnny Wilkinson to add 3. Do you feel there's a sense of foreboding at all amongst the English fans, or are they still quite buoyant and confident?
Make sure they're behind you.
Well, the difference between the English cavalry and the South African cavalry that was brought off the bench to make the difference against Tonga is quite startling. Another pitiful unforced error and terrible kicking. I mean, it just really has been a return to the days I remember when it feels a little unfair to target Mike Catt like this after he had such an atrocious game against South Africa. But when he was playing at 10 for England, they seem to employ this game of kicking the ball straight down the middle of the park. Now, they're not trying to kick the ball down the middle of the park, but at this level you should not be missing touch with the frequency that the English players have been doing. And well, hearing from Tolson there that Andy Gomersol's error early on brought Pete Richards out to start warming up, it will not be a surprise if we see Andy Gomersol being replaced quite soon.
Well, it was an unfortunate mistake by Samoa. After the mistake of England's and just jumping around in their own 22, there was actually an offside runner who was within 10 yards. And you've got to start retiring until you put onside, and that's actually a bit of a let-off for England, because they're in a very good attacking position and dominating in the set piece, you have to say.
They really are dominating in all aspects of the set piece at the moment. And Lewis will be keeping a very firm eye here. Now, Jason Robinson, probably again the only English player who could hold his head up high after the performance against South Africa. A good 10-15 yards from some very average ball out into the backs. Now a chance here for Wilkinson, but it's swallowed up. Still managed to get the ball back, but the Samoans consent the turnover. He managed to avert that, and Nick Easter just comes lolloping off the back. He's done well, actually, before I criticise too much. Gomersol, Wilkinson again. Barkley dropped into Simon Shaw. Simon Shaw back to Wilkinson. Now Worsley. Corrie, it's going through hands for the sake of going through hands at that particular stage, and possession slowed right down to a grinding halt. Sixth phase again while Wilkinson went for a drop goal. He'll probably want some slightly better position if he's to do the same thing as he goes through and supports, but the Samoans have turned it over, and Brian Lima clears it, and the chase is on. And well, if that had just stayed in, you can tell by the way that Tuilagi reacted. He knows he had the beating of Martin Corrie there. And some. I would imagine he'd have had time to score the try and run back to him before it reached the 22.
Of course, they'll know each other fairly well, being teammates at Leicester, the Tuilangis and Corrie.
Well, we enter the last quarter then of this game. It's England 26, Samoa 22. The Samoans probably haven't offered quite what everyone expected coming into the tie, but they've stayed in touch and they're just 4 points separate. Terrible line-out by England, a gift at Samoa. They keep ball in hand. Ball released, cut back inside. The English defence comfortably ready for that, but this is the sort of platform Samoa would have wanted to. The ball from Lima, though, gets no protection, and England can counter. They've got 3-on-2. But no communication, and the hack up the line, and something could happen here. And that's brilliant defence, but still not clear. Samoans dive for the line, and Alan Lewis calls it held up. It's a scrum 5 to the Samoans. Well, I mean, some desperate defence there from England, and once again, coming from very open play, Josh Lucy with the vital slide in there, but then to give the ball away like that, very nearly conceding the try, while England are now on the rack. They are 5 yards from their own line, and whatever their performance in the set piece, they're going to be nerves jangling down there now.
But if you go back to what it came from, it was England had an overlap, and it was a dreadful pass to no one because the winger had come off his wing, and you just sense this sort of the lack of confidence that England have and are showing is just coming through in spades, and
lack of confidence, lack of communication, because they did very well there.
Well, here we are. This is the start of it, and well, Ollie Barkley
out to Tate, and then Tate had winger outside him, Cueto cut back inside, and then almost another opportunity for a breakaway try for the Samoans, but still they'll fancy their chances.
But I mean, you do sense at the moment, because Samoa are having to play the ball so far away from the try line, the only tries they are going to score are from breakaways or the mistakes that England may make that they can capitalise on.
But the thing is, the amount of mistakes England are making, you wouldn't. But I mean, it's not as though they're going to feel that they're not going to have the opportunity as they make a substitution here. It's Kas Lealamanu who comes off. And does it look as though we're going to be having any changes made by the English team soon, Tulson, just with the way things are going?
Just down here on the sideline, Jonathan, there hasn't been any movement as far as it goes on the bench. There may well be after this scrum, though, because the Samoans are really on a roll. Fossey Palamo is the man who came onto the pitch there, but just something for a jilted Englishman up there in the commentary box like yourself, Jonathan, to think about. If England do go on and lose this match, at least they can form a band, because Andrew Sheridan plays the guitar, George Tudor plays the saxophone, and Joe Worsley plays the piano. I'll let David Sole work out what the band can be called.
Well, Tulson, just before you start getting carried away about calling me an Englishman, I'm actually a Scot, even though my accent doesn't sound as though it is. But, however, I'm not going to be pigeonholed with people who support England at the moment. I'm trying to be as objective as possible. That's all I'm doing up here. Still, a great opportunity for the Samoans if they can stay strong in the tight here. At the back is picked up by Tuilagi, slightly isolated, but his back row forwards quickly in there. They keep it tight for the time being. The Samoans will probably fancy their chances taking on the English pack. It's not as though they haven't managed to break through them. Still, Polly. This time, that is too static. But it soaks up defenders. Still, just Daniel Leo going backwards this time. The Samoans can keep on recycling it, though. They'll still be confident. Going for a rather audacious little effort there, Lemmy, the winger. Polu, with the support of Schvalga, and also Kane Rob Thompson. Just keeps on slowing down, but bit by bit, the Samoans going to Tuilagi. He was a marked man by Martin Corrie from the outset there, but the Samoans can still get this one back. Polu goes blind. Lima to just pick a spot. This is encouraging for Brian Ashton as far as the English defence is concerned. Polu out wide, and this time just when they needed to try and maintain that ball, and Cueto breaks well. English have an advantage. Shooter just needs to straighten